What's up, guys? I'd like to talk about Devon Larratt. There's some things about practices versus competition, and what helps you in your ability to practice and have it be fun, and have people actually want to practice with you again. And so there's a couple things. I didn't write anything down, but who knows if that would help my memory. So basically, and this is probably the meat of the whole thing, the reason that Devon can meet up with an old guy like Jacob Abbott and pull with him and play around and have it be no big deal is because Devon doesn't have Jacob Abbott in his smallest circle, right? Okay. So if he was in the smallest circle, they wouldn't be able to have fun like that. The reason I'm saying that is because, especially as someone, and I'm well endurance myself, but especially as someone like Devon who is so well endurance and who can naturally handle a tremendous amount of volume and recover quickly, when you have all your bases covered, and Devon, you just say like times 12, more than he needs, where you're lifting weights, you're pulling almost every day, you're doing all these things, you got your table time. You've got your strength, you've got your conditioning, you've got everything. All you need to get right is to start getting ready for competition. Fix your sleep, because who can do that and travel and see everyone and pull all the time? Fix your sleep, fix your diet, fix your life, right? Get everything dialed in, actually have a structured program going on, figure out when you're going to rest. Don't let yourself rest before that point. Rest, come up quick, peak, boom, done. The only way, and this is why I'm thinking to myself, Devon Larratt took what John Brzenk said, did, and showed to be true, which was, in order to be good at arm wrestling, you have to arm wrestle. And Devon goes, well, duh, but maybe not so much. Devon took that and went way far with it. Devon absolutely arm wrestles more than anyone else on earth. Absolutely. And harder. It's unbelievable. Now, what does that say about his strength technically? No idea. What does that say about his endurance, his genetics, his gifts? Who cares? Let's not compare ourselves to Devon. What it does mean is that if you want to have people that you arm wrestle with regularly enjoy it, you got to protect each other. But you have to arm wrestle differently with those people in that innermost circle than you do with the subsequent circles. And then you do with new guys that you've never pulled with, people from other clubs, people in the after pulls of competition. You have to pull differently. There's a whole arm wrestling culture that you should pick up on very quickly. Posturally, right? Devon talks a lot about that. Posturally, there's communication. I call it arm wrestling culture, whatever you want to refer to it as, where you can understand what someone wants, what they're going to do, and if they want something very specific, then they should communicate that to you, or they'll go ahead and do it, then you can work with them. There's going to be places they will create spaces in which, if you're sensitive, you will fall into to help them work on what they're trying to do. So essentially, when arm wrestling is done perfectly, there's no need for talking at all. The only reason to really talk when it's done perfectly is just to bounce theory off of each other and to check yourselves and to make sure, maybe with a more experienced guy, make sure you're thinking about it correctly. Devon's advantage is simply this. I'm not even going to talk about his ability to recover. Devon's advantage is that he has tried more than anyone has ever tried to be good at arm wrestling, to be proficient. Do you realize what a huge what's the term? Leap forward our arm wrestling world is now with this understanding, especially long-limbed people. Because if your bones are longer, right, you're taller, your bones are long, every bone's longer. What's that mean for your hand? Metatarsals, the phalanges, they're all longer. It means farther distance between the joints in the fingers. Okay, so if that's the case, and I'm going to take, let's see this pen. Now I have a strap here. What am I saying? So I'm going to have this strap here. My fingers are really long. Let's say that's the joint. There's going to be a lot of different variations of that. There's going to be a lot of torque, and there's going to be some damage. And as you try and progress and go heavier, the returns are going to start to diminish. That's the way to think of it. What does Devon do? After almost 30 years, goes, oh, it really just needs to be as close to the punching knuckle as possible. Right there. That's exactly where it should be. You can put it there, but it has a tendency to go on the outside of your fist. You don't want that. You do it in the front. It typically, because of those lower knuckles there, it's going to balance just like that, and that's perfect. Because you want the pressure to be there, just like that, causing you to drop. Anyway, things like that. He has gone through and he's pushed the limits on everything that people have advised him to do. Things that he believed to be true and that he investigated out. Do you know, now this is my perception, reading in between the lines of the way Devon speaks. Do you realize why Devon Larratt had to have an elbow surgery? My opinion, because he never trained side pressure that I know of. He did a thing where you have a pulley over there and you pull it this way. Oh, great. And then, turn around. Now the pulley's over here and you push it this way. That's great. That's going to help your side pressure. It's going to help your stability. Not side pressure training. In my opinion, he didn't do anything that should have ruined his elbows to that extent. Now, what did he do specifically? No idea. He mentioned a lot of arthritic causing full body exercises he did with friends and comrades in the military, push-up variations and such, like the Ironmans and the CrossFit type exercise. Now in arm wrestling, aside from getting beat up week after week after week, when he was actually defending his title and things around that time frame, when he was number one in the world, I'm going to say that the number one worst thing for his elbows was when he was doing his, it's called hook training 1 and 2. I don't think there's a third one. I think he was trying to get to 200 pounds that he could keep here without it opening, 200 pounds of pressure going that way, at least for, a few seconds. And when he was doing that, the reason, let me think very carefully about my wording here. Someone showed him that lift, or a lift like it, and he figured, okay, the point where it's actually working the muscle needs to work is below 90 degrees. So you have to at least get 90 degrees. That's what he told everyone. You need to get at least below 90 degrees, because there's no at least. You need to get in the area that's actually working on arm wrestling. When you're arm wrestling, you're pulling back. What is it? Okay, yeah, sure, it's all this, the trap and the shoulder, the rear delts, all this stuff, and it's this bicep, the brachialis, sure. But where's the pressure going into and coming from? Where's your opposition? Well, your opposition to your riser's in another person's riser going like this. Well, that pressure goes that direction. Boom. Okay, now pulling back, you're pulling from here, because that's where the person's arm is. Right? Devon Devon has tried. I'm a big advocate of the Kilpack family secret to success. Right? Try. Because everything's set up for you to succeed. There's nothing impeding you. Nothing. Devon has tried more than anyone else. When he took that lift and he took it apart and he dissected it, right? Michael Todd said, you analyzed it and you went, okay, and that's cool. But when you do that, when you analyze it and you go, why is this working? Why is this helping? Okay, this is where the actual tension is. You take it one step further. This is where it's irrelevant on the table because of that. In other words, you'd be so low that this is where gravity is heading right here. Roughly that. So you're basically upside down. Anyway. When he figured out that lift, then he altered it slightly, right? It wasn't necessarily just hammer curls. That was the hook training, though. So he did both. He got very heavy on both of them. What that does, he was utilizing his frame, also very intelligent, God-given tools. What he effectively did, in my opinion, was he took that lift and he took that aspect of arm wrestling farther than anyone ever conceived possible, and it broke him physically. In no other way. His elbow got destroyed. Now, what does that mean? What did he discover? What did he have to go through all that pain and now all this comeback to be able to be the 115 kilogram champion now? Well, he discovered that their perception of arm wrestling was incorrect. Why? How do you know? Because if it starts off here instead of here, then by the time it gets way out, then it's off. But how little it has to tilt. How little it has to tilt. In its perception, because that's how it orients its goals, right? That's how you orient your goals through your perception of value, such as side pressure. And then the more effort you put into it, the farther progressed along the multiplication because of the effort, and then the timeline also that you are down the line, and then that places you to the right or to the left or right down the middle. And if you're aiming right down the middle, but you have a misperception, then compared to reality rather than your own perception of truth, you're not straight, you're off. How much? Well, first you have to discover the right perception of arm wrestling. This is what it means to try. Devon tried so hard, he blew truth out of the water and into arm wrestling. If I could figure out how, I should probably insert a new intro into this video, which is convenient, it would be convenient. Why stay strong and love arm wrestling? Why stay massive? Why stay after it and find truth in arm wrestling? Arm wrestling is a beautiful sport. These things are all very precious to me. Devon just posted a video not very long ago. I was cooking. I can't wait to watch it, so I'm a little bit anxious, but to do that. And I just want to also mention, he said in his little victory speech against Prudnyk, in conclusion, so whatever you love to do in life, hold on to it, and you'll be able to do it. He doesn't even believe that. He misspoke. He was excited. He was tired. What he meant to say was, never stop. Because holding on, right? Holding on is not what he does. You hold on to him, or you slip and get a strap. Never hold on to anything. What? Well, then we'll just slip. Yeah? Well, then we'll go to strap. Yeah? Well, who has a strap? Oh, you should always have a strap. Right? That's the exact conversation. Devon's very consistent. He's very honest, very truthful. He's very good for the sport. Why? because his heart is in it, because he loves arm wrestling. And what does he do with all of his energy because of his love for arm wrestling? He pushes in every way that you can possibly push. He pushes on the table. He pushes in the weights. He pushes in theory. He pushes in teaching. He pushes in seminars. He pushes in traveling. He diversifies. Once he's at the top, he diversifies where he goes and what he does, who he pulls, and how he wins. It's beautiful. Very intelligent. This is why early on when I was watching Devon, all these people on Facebook said he was so smart. I thought, okay, I don't know about so smart. No. The evidence of Devon Larratt's intelligence is exactly within the way that he lives his life for arm wrestling. It's my opinion. Kind of a little story time there. Oh well. Yeah, stay massive. What's Coach Ray's? I already forgot it. Oh well. Stay strong and love arm wrestling, and stay after it and find truth in arm wrestling.